about to go to spring break?
The spring break, I found less accommodating courts and spring break has been canceled, Judge.
How come when I was complaining you didn't cancel? How come you still kept spring break with me, huh?
No, Judge, it's just been, and Leo left. And so there's been a couple of work commitments that I picked up after that. So.
Oh, things just got a little busy. Okay, well, good to see everybody on a Thursday afternoon. So good afternoon. This is Judge Alyssa Perez resuming the criminal docket for the 210th District Court for March 10th, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives. With respect to COVID-19, in addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. I'll go ahead and call our next case, calling cause number 2021-0D0-2380, State of Texas versus Clevy, Muchette, Nelson. May I have announcements, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Michelle Hill, Haban Mohammed, and Roel King, on behalf of the state is ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Rock Benjamin on behalf of Miss Nelson, and she's present, Your Honor. Ready.
Good afternoon, Ms. Nelson. Thank you, everyone. So as we were discussing off the record, I know the parties kind of wanted to just do a little reconvening in, I'm going to say, in anticipation of our April 7th and 8th trial. And I have a feeling there's going to be a big asterisk on that. But I'm going to hear from you all first before we go there. That's the only thing I have outstanding is our final hearing plea deadline and the actual trial date. Forgive me, there's some entries here on Odyssey that don't let me go too far down. So if there's motions or anything that I'm sure you all will get me up to speed. So who wants to start?
Do you want to start, Mr. Benjamin, or do you want?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, Your Honor. So Mr. Benjamin, we spoke since the last hearing. We've had an evidence review, and the purported computer extraction was completed. However, it was done in a form. Mr. Benjamin informed me at the evidence review that it was in an HTML format rather than a PDF. So he had to explain that to me, and then it made sense to me that we needed a reader on it. So we contacted PD. They are able to do an Axiom reader where they will reduce it to a PDF format. That will be completed.
No. The readers, we want to stay away from the PDFs, HTMLs. We want the reader, and that's what we're looking for, ma'am. You're right there, but okay, don't scare me.
I'm probably saying it wrong, but they understand. They have that format. So they are applying a reader. Ms. Muhammad could probably speak to that better. She's better at the terminology. But they will have that by the end of next week to turn over. However, it is a large amount. Mr. Benjamin, I did receive your thumb drive that you dropped off, and you would like that, all the information put on that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I'll have my investigator take that over. Additionally, Judge, the court, we need to have a couple of hearings set. Mr. Benjamin has a couple of motions that are outstanding, and he filed one recently with regard to deposition. So we need to get those set because the state is going to object to those, and we will be fighting those couple of different motions outstanding. So our concern is the timeline, if we're going to be able to fit all of that in prior to April 7th and 8th, because counsel for the defense has to go through all of those things also, as well as the state, because the format that we had it in with regard that they presented to us, as far as the laptop and as well as the phone, we should have that next week also, wasn't in a format that we could actually read through and get everything and redact in the manner that we needed to.
Okay. So before we get into details and maybe some kind of superficial substantive issues, let me jump ahead a little bit. So you all probably know best where you're at. Are you all in agreement that the April trial setting, are you all in agreement to continue that, or are we not there yet?
I believe so, based on our conversations, just in an effort, because there's a lot of things coming up.
Judge, and here's the thing, and Miss Nelson is not going to like that, but I'm going to tell her that we need to do that, because one thing that Miss Hill hasn't mentioned yet is, in addition to the request to take Mr. Sennessy's deposition, we're still waiting on the production of his phone. And the phone hasn't been produced. And the phone is actually the gold mine that I'm looking for. John Briggs expressed why, and I'm waiting for that. And so that I don't have, and I would expect that maybe it'll be produced at the same time next week, but
yes,
I don't have that.
So let me tell you a few things. And if you all have discussed, I know Miss King is here day in, day out. So I'm sure, probably already knows this. And I suspect maybe that's why you came up on Monday. I don't know, or Tuesday, whenever it was. But, the court scheduling, as is the case with every other court, we're having such struggles with managing our dockets and having cases go to trial. I can tell you here, we have had a case that was due to go next week that I have now pushed back to this April 7th and 8th trial date. And I'm telling you this, especially Mr. Benjamin, if what I'm hearing is you all are really in agreement, and maybe your client needs to hear this, is that because that other case has now been bumped to this date, it is an individual that has been in custody over 1,000 days, and he will definitely take precedence unless something gets resolved. I feel very comfortable saying no, but anything could happen. That it would go before, and I think I actually have 2 inmates that would definitely go before Miss Nelson's case, because I think the cases even predate her case. So just as an FYI, Brock, so you know that as well.
And Ms. King alluded to that, Your Honor.
Yeah, I thought maybe Ro is on top of everything. So yes, I mean, unfortunately, it's just one of the, if we had this, a little bit of uncertainty and things change before COVID, certainly now it's just day in, day out for us. So if I'm hearing there's an agreement on a continuance of the trial date, you all feel free to bring that to my attention. No, that's what the court's operating with in terms of that trial. In terms of hearings, can you tell me right now exactly what needs to be said?
Can I start, Judge?
Go for it.
yes.
And Your
Don't
Honor,
go too fast because I'm writing it down. So go ahead.
well, in the joint request for a trial setting, there was a specific list, but that list should include a request to take the deposition of Richard Sennessy. And I articulated in there why. There's a motion in limine regarding other alleged acts. There's a motion to suppress my client's statement. And then there's at least one other motion in limine, if I'm not mistaken, Your Honor. And then I believe Ms. Hill had mentioned, and I don't know if she's filed it, but had mentioned filing a motion in limine.
That's
Okay.
correct, Your Honor.
So something regarding deposition, motion to suppress, and 2 motions in limine. Is that what you said?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And the state will be filing an objection to the deposition, and we will be filing a motion in limine also.
Okay.
And if anything develops as far as with regard to the phones and or the computers, there may be additional motions at that point.
Okay. So let me get to a calendar, court calendar. That's not gonna work.
And I know it's not always the court's preference, but Your Honor, the defense preference at least would be have some of those motions resolved sooner, and because they will affect witnesses and out-of-town witnesses.
So what I'm hearing right now, and I'm just trying to look in terms of scheduling purposes, how we're going to do this. Hold on. Let me make sure I don't have a doctor's appointment that day. Okay. So for everything that is filed right now that you all have mentioned that requires a hearing, which I think at least on one of those we might still be pending the state's opposition or response. I'm not sure if there is something pending. Anything that is filed right now. You're asking for an in-person hearing?
I am, Your Honor, yes.
Okay. So, and I'm going to ask my staff to chime in, or Roa, if you can think of something from the regular docket that rings a bell. Something about this date is ringing a bell, but I'm not seeing anything on the calendar. 1:30 on March 24th. That is Thursday afternoon. So that's 2 weeks from today. I would love to put you sooner, but we are starting a trial next week. So that's probably the first chunk of time that I will not have either a jury trial or a docket. And I can, give you an afternoon.
Your Honor, the defense is on board. Thank you.
And the state is available also, Your Honor.
Okay. So
I don't see
Monday.
anything. I don't see anything.
I don't see anything either. I think I scheduled a civil hearing that day, but it's in the morning, so that's fine. And it's an in-person, so that's okay. So let's do March 24th. Now I'll tell you this. Did you all provide the court with an email with those pleadings attached requesting hearing? No. Okay.
No, Your Honor.
So for both of you, please do that by end of day tomorrow. So I have a list. I want to see exactly what you have. Ms. Hill, I'm not going to try and necessarily put you in under, or you either, Brock, if you have some kind of responses or objections to anything. I would love to see them. Have everything filed by this Friday, but the responses we can have for the following Friday, so March 18th. Okay, so get your responses to those pleadings to be heard on the 24th in by the 18th, because sometime between the 18th and the 24th, I'll take a look at them. Okay. Now in the interim, if you think you all are going to file something else, I think maybe we can keep this kind of timetable going until I know that we're not going on the 7th and the 8th. Okay. So if you anticipate you have an agreed motion for continuance, please present that to the court by like 24th. That would be really nice.
Okay. Definitely.
Y'all do what you need to do, but it'd be useful. I mean, maybe I can figure out a not too far down the road. I mean, I'm not trying to push this back, but if things are outstanding, we also have, the possibility that our scheduling is going to be opening up quite a bit here pretty soon. So we might not be tied by a lot of the old COVID protocol, or soon to be old COVID protocol. But I do anticipate we would still need the panels, because we'd need still more jurors than we would be able to handle in the courtroom. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Brock, you're looking at me
Yes,
like
no.
You're looking at me like you have a question mark. No? Okay.
Always a little confused, Judge.
What else? Was that everything? Really?
And Your Honor, also, I just wanted to address the order with regard to the gag order that we spoke about last hearing. It appears that the Justice for Clevy website, as well as the Facebook, is still up and commentary is still being
What indication do we have that anyone that is under the protective order is related to either of those?
And the thing is, I have my investigator investigating as far as who the number comes back to, because they are taking donations. It states Justice for Clevy. It has a phone number, states public figures. It has photos of her. It looks as though it has photos of her relatives. It also sets forth the her purported version of what happened. We seek justice for Captain Clevy Nelson Royster, who was falsely arrested for the death of a man she considered to be her soulmate. Her arrest was widely publicized, sensationalized.
This is what I'll tell you, because I think we've kind of been circling around this, and maybe I'm hearing bits and pieces. What I will say is, if there is some concern regarding any violations of the protective order, reduce them to writing, file something, bring a notice to the court, because I would be very happy to address those on the 24th.
And
Okay, thank you. I will do that. Thank you.
And if you file it, you know, Brock, you have something, I know, because you were the first one to file an objection to it. So.
And your honor, I'll respond to that. I mean, I've filed an objection. I guess I'll wait for them and I'll take the position of replying to it, because I think it's, and I'll reply to it, your honor.
Well, my concern is this: I'm not sure that we've ever really kind of barreled down what our issues are. I heard, you know, Brock initially objected. We had a little bit here and there. It was a little informal. And at the last hearing with Mr. Lopez, I know Ms. Hill brought up some concerns about these either Facebook pages, or I'm not really sure, but it sounds to me that there's enough of this background noise that it needs to stop being background noise, put it on paper, and let's have a hearing on it. Okay.
And your honor, we welcome that, because our position is, one, the Justice for Clevy website, I think is exempted from the court's order no matter what. The second issue I have, and respectfully to the court, because the court is the person who arbitrates all the issues, I disagree with the order in general, but I've already done that, your honor, and I will file a response when Ms. Hill files hers.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know, Brock, I'm trying to remember, and my memory is usually pretty terrible. I know we've alluded and kind of informally discussed your objection, but you know, if there, you know, that hasn't necessarily, it's kind of just been hanging out there, you know?
And your honor, I'll brief it, but I mean, for the record, your honor, I just don't think in Texas, and your honor, having looked at the mandate, I have a mandamus that I guess I've withheld filing. I just don't think that even if there was a specific act that I had done that the court could tie to prejudicing the jury, that is enough. And a general prophylactic concern is, and this is my position, your honor, this is my position, is certainly not enough. And so I don't believe that the court has that ability in Texas, and I love living in Texas. So that's my position.
Okay. Well, like I said, if we need to address this formally, again, welcome it for that. I don't want to leave it hanging out there. If we're just going to be going back and forth, dancing around it, let's just deal with it. Okay.
Yes, your honor.
All right, your honor, the state will respond.
Got it. What else? So
Nothing further on behalf of the state, your honor.
okie dokies.